Good morning, everybody. It's October the 27th. I wasn't going to blog today because I'm just about to put out the November forecast, which I videoed. And I don't know, I just woke up. So hang on, hello to everybody. How are you guys? It's good to talk to you. I woke up literally thinking, I need to talk to you guys. I need some sort of feedback today. And I need some sort of alternative responses to what my brain is saying. In short, I've woken up with not one crossroads, with about 20. And it's like I'm standing on one side of the road, and where I was holding on to my mum's hand, she's disappeared, and there's no zebra crossing, and there's no traffic lights, and there's just cars whizzing everywhere. There aren't any signposts, and I'm just thinking, well, what next? And nothing's stopping, no one's looking at me, there's no, it's just sounds of cars everywhere, and this real fear of my destination's across the road, or my destination somewhere. In fact, I don't even know it's across the road because it's all these different directions. Do I go round the roundabout, or have I been going round the roundabout for the last 6 months? Or do I take right? Do I go left? Do I just walk madly into the middle of the road and just trust that someone is gonna, the cars are gonna part the way like Moses and the Red Sea? How much faith do I need to do this? And this is where I've woken up. I actually thought when I woke up I'd had an argument with my husband. I felt so emotionally deranged this morning. I thought, what's going on? And I had a really interesting dream just before I woke up, where I was trying to justify why a fat person should have, it was okay to have a dance studio, right? And I was like, all it has happened in this dream is this person had mentioned something, well, she's got a studio and she's fat, and I just went off the radar with it. I've got this, I've got that, just because I'm that. And I was really telling this person how great I was. So it's a little bit like an exercise that I use when I'm working with people to build their confidence of actually standing up for themselves. And it can be quite traumatic for some people because they get all emotional. But the idea is to get emotional and to start standing up for you rather than everybody else, because it's easy to fight someone else's battle, but it's not as easy to fight for your own. So I was doing this, and then I ended up talking to this woman who looked really, really young, who was actually, turned out she was much, much older than me. And I thought she was like, half my age. And she was saying that she wanted me to go and help them because her group was very dispersed, and she wanted people to come together, and she knew that I could do it. She had faith in me, and we sort of wandered off together, and that was sort of the end of the dream. So I woke up, but before that there was a lot of other stuff happening in the night, which obviously rattled my cage. And so when I said goodbye to Sean, I was like feeling like we'd had this argument. It was a really weird feeling. So this morning I've woken up going, we dealt with a few things yesterday. One of the reasons why I'm blogging, one of the main reasons, again, is to get some answers for myself. And I'm just wondering whether you guys can help me today. I'm actually asking for help today. So I'm putting myself out on the line, on a limb. And I'm not sure whether any advice is going to be the best advice. I'm not sure if this is the right way to go. But you know what? Why not? Sometimes, I talk about being vulnerable, about, letting go of that shell, and being open and be sensitive, be open to everything, and see what comes, because we have protection of spirit. Now, as a psychic doing this sort of stuff, and most of you know that I'm a very highly emotional person and tend to get, I've been tearful on this before and whatever, and I do feel like that today. So I'm not going to apologise for crying, because actually I obviously need a good cry. Maybe it's the change, I don't know. But I know that, obviously everything's very intensified right now. So I'm just going to let everything come out and tell you what's going on. So, like I said, normally I'm here giving advice, and, and I'm hoping that in some ways this will, maybe sometimes sharing is the way, or I don't know. Anyways, but I was just literally about to go to the gym and I was half dressed and I thought, no, do this now, do this now. And so I just thought, okay, do it. Let's just see what happens. So where do I start? So I've come to a crossroads in my head. I've talked about crossroads. If you've listened to the November scopes, you'll probably see there's a lot about crossroads. I think there is a lot when you listen to the November things, but the actual main November universal one, I think it's something about a crossroads, and it has come up in a sort of similar theme all the way through the sun signs as well. So I'm at a point, most of you will know that I'm going through a surrogacy situation at the moment, or doing my best to raise the money for that. And not everybody knows, obviously, how much has been done, or they don't know the update. So I thought I want to give this update and tell you where I am, because for some of you wouldn't know where this roller coaster is. So if anybody is actually listening who is about to become part of a surrogacy threesome, or is thinking about this, or is going to be a surrogate, you know, this is important. I feel this needs to sort of be heard. So from the beginning, everything was cool. You know, we went for it. Then we decided to keep it very much to ourselves. Well, actually, when it first came up, the story goes, is that I didn't want a bar of it. Okay. So that was, we're talking nearly 2 years ago where this first came up. Okay. So this has been going on quite a long time, because I wasn't prepared to go down that road, purely because I'd been through adoption, IVF, there was so much, hysterectomy, you name it, and I felt that I'd found my path of fulfillment in another way, and I'd come to the point of, actually, it's okay, I'm now at a certain age and I can move forwards. And, you know, husband and I, you know, are making plans to move to Spain eventually. And we had that, you know, we had these dreams and stuff, and I was happy with my work. And then this comes in. Now, it's a wonderful gift for someone to offer me, and it was great, but it did throw me completely upside down. Now, to me, that's a sign, okay? That's a massive sign of something. At this point, we don't know, but originally it was like, it's a sign. It's like, and I thought, why now? Why would you put me through it? So my head, as it does, it goes round the houses, up and down. It's like, well, is she asking this because I need to deal with this? Am I being asked this because it's meant to be? Is this just supposed to get me on the right track? You know, so if you're a spiritually minded person, you're probably like this. Your mind goes everywhere. And somebody asked me the other day, is it really like a hindrance having this this gift? You know, can it be really tough? I said, yeah, because you never stop questioning, ever. It's constant. You know, I can easily give you all advice out there. It's as clear as a cucumber. But when it comes to me, I feel like there isn't... I get the answers, but I tend to go right round the houses to get them. And because I'm so open to all these different options, you know, so I'm exploring everything, as a Scorpio does. And then sometimes I come right back to the beginning, and then someone can just say something, and then I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. I tend to get there in the end, but sometimes it can be really difficult being empathic as well, because you're constantly picking up on everyone's emotions. You don't know if it's yours, you don't know if it's theirs, you don't know what's going on. So when it comes to yourself, it isn't easy. So what I've done most of the last, you know, quite a lot of years now is sort of been doing, you know, healing and giving advice and that, and fixing people. So it felt good, you know, I felt like I was in the right place. So this comes up and I'm like, oh my God, you know, what do I do with this? So I let it go, but then all of a sudden, later on down the road, it sort of rose its ugly head again. Because I basically talked to my husband and said, look, this isn't going to happen, you know, I think that, you know, we've come to this point. And he just sort of agreed with me. Now, I should know better, because he'll just agree with me anyway, you know, unless he really doesn't agree. And actually that's a sign in itself, isn't it? Because if you really, you know, and my belief is, you really want something, you fight for it, okay, or you go for it, you know, you want it. So anyway, it transpired quite a few months later, an issue came up with selling a PlayStation, and, well, getting a new PlayStation, I think it was something like that, and we had something come to us we had a bit of luck, and the subject came up again, and because it annoyed me that it was that easy to make this other decision and not that one for him, and me and him both ended up having this massive argument in the middle of a street, well, actually in the middle, side of a road. We were on our way to see my friend who had just had a baby, and I think this is what sort of was the trigger, really, because all the emotions were everywhere, and because that had already opened up, it was like, we're going down this path whether we like it or not, and somehow we were put in this position. So then we talked it out and then decided we were going to go for it, and if we're going to go for it, we need to go for it 100%. We can't walk, you can't step back, you're going to have to, let's go meet her, let's talk about it, let's see what happens. And he was like, yeah, I'm on board, whatever. So that was fine. We meant to meet her. It was my half sister that offered us this, and we talked about what we were going to do. We said we're going to raise money. I said, right, let's get it out there because we need to do this quick. We've got a deadline, so we gave ourselves a deadline for a year's time. So like that, we said, let's do it on our own. Let's have our deadline as the anniversary, not that next year, the year after. We thought, okay, that gives us plenty of time. And we thought then, we need this amount of money. We've still got to look into it. There was a lot of stuff to do. So we left it a little bit until after Christmas because everything was just a mess as well. We needed time to sort, I got in touch with different clinics, and then things came to me. And the way it happened, the clinic we used actually, again, was a bit of a sign. It fell into our laps. Things started just falling into our laps like that. It was like, to me, it was like where all the difficulty had been before, this was simple. It seemed to be, it was flowing. And in my mind, when things flow, they flow. They just sort of work. And whereas was before, we kept getting doors knocked in our face, and I thought maybe this is the time. We've got to a point where, we're ready. So I rang up quite a few clinics, and then, like I said, my friend gave me a number of a place, and because she'd been there, and it turned out that was the place to go. It was more affordable, although it was in London. It worked out a lot better than it would have done. It was easier because obviously my sister had to come with us, and So the first step was all the initial tests. It had to, we had to decide, you have to go through counselling, you have to decide whether you're ready, and it's very, very expensive. So from the outset, before you've even got any started, there's lots of money involved, travelling, negotiations, everything like that. So we questioned a lot of things. We'd already booked a holiday before we decided this, and it came up, do we cancel this? And I said, well, no, I think we're going to need it. If we're going to go through this, we need it, and we've already paid for it. What's the point of cancelling it? But the question came up, what are people going to think? Going on holiday, what are you doing that for? And my initial worry was being judged. There was so much I was afraid of being judged, of putting it out there. Then what happened is I decided I was going to, I said, well, let's put this out on social media. And anyway, then, let's do it in the papers. And my husband was like, then he got all scared, okay? And it was like, I don't know whether you should do that. Because, people will be looking, and he was really worried about it. And then that stopped me. So I said, okay, we won't do that. But then it got to the point where we were trying to raise this money, but no one knew what we were doing. So it was like, well, if you haven't got the backup, you're trying to fundraise, you need backup, you need crowdfunding, you need something, okay? So in the end, I lost the plot. So I came to a crossroads at that point and said, right, enough is enough. Stop being scared. If you really want this, you need to be passionate about it. You need to be loud and proud. And this is it. So I went live on Facebook. I think it was around April time, or was it May? I think it was April, and it was a new moon or something like that. It was a big transitional time. I chose exactly the right time, and I got so much support. The video is on here if you want to watch it. I've never gone back because everything went wrong that day. The fact that I had to be myself. I was so worried about doing it, and I couldn't get any signal, and I was running around the house, and in the end I just had to do it really blind, because first of all I had it all beautifully set up that I was going to chat that, but actually that wasn't the way to do it. It was better to do it raw. And in the end, the emotions came up, everything, and everyone saw it, and I just literally bared my soul to the world. And we had some wonderful things coming back. Excuse me, just got a little bit emotional there. I'm going back to that emotional time. So bear with me. So pull myself together. Okay, so we had the most amazing donations from people. The most amazing thing is that I hardly knew these people, and it, I remember us going, oh my God, the money's going up. It didn't go up, you know, it wasn't like, oh my God, here's the money, you've got everything you need, but it was a substantial enough to get started. And people were coming to us all over the world. And some of them were little donations, some of them were like, you know, £100 a time, which is amazing because that's what you need. You know, these breakly chunks almost. But if if 20,000 people gave £1, we'd have the money. You know, it was that sort of, we could do this on whatever scale we want. Anyway, the buzz started. People were like connecting with us. Old students of mine came through sending beautiful testimonies about how great parents we would be. I mean, it was very, very emotional. Then I came to another crossroads, and that was with my family. Because where everybody else was offering support, they stopped. It was almost like, oh my God, you put yourself out there, now we're really embarrassed, now we've got to accept it. Oh, and I broke this bubble they were all in. Now, all the guilt that they'd been holding on to of not being able to help me, it all came out. So most of you who've been listening to me throughout the beginning of the summer months, there was tears on here. There was the arguments I was having with my mum, the issues, of working through, and that growth of having to deal with all of their emotions as well as mine. And they were like projecting it all onto me. And the fact that I was feeling more devalued because they wanted me to do so much to get a donation from them. Whereas really, I didn't expect them to sort of pay for this. But it was the fact they were making such a song and dance about not. It was like, well, just don't do anything. It was, and I got to the end. I understood. I through this, and I really appreciate this. Actually, in the end, even though it was very difficult, was the arguments that I did have with my mother and the to's and fro's and the difficulties. Because actually, we've now got a much better relationship, and we've got to a point where I actually stood my ground. I was honest, and I just turned around to her and very clearly said, this is where it's going to be. I'm going to go ahead and do this because I believe in it, and you can just do what you want. If you want a relationship with me, you need to just get on board with me as a person. You don't have to be part of this if you don't want to, but it's going to happen. So at least just support me as my mother, and if not, just say nothing. But stop projecting all your stuff onto me, because actually it's just making it worse. And you're making this such a difficult journey because you're doubting. I mean, stuff came out that, that she didn't, all these things came out of her mouth, which really did hurt me. And I actually at one point thought, we are never going to have a relationship again. But the reality of the fact that she's my mum, and, she's older now, and, I don't know how long she's got, and that, if I remained angry because I was still feeling hurt and angry, that actually I was going to continue blocking everything, and it still wasn't going to get anything forwards. And it was seemed that I needed to do this, because the more that there was a difficulty with her, the more I was being received from everyone outside. And this was about the time where my art started taking root. And I think it must have been actually it was the trigger as well of everything, was the lavender moon. So Nori, if you're listening, that's where it all began, the lavender moon. I had a vision in my head to paint this painting, and Nori, you are the proud owner of the very first painting. So if I ever get really famous, that was going to be so valuable, that piece, because it was the first thing that I was carrying around in my head for so long, and I just took to painting it, and it just came together, and I put it out there and everyone loved it. And I was really surprised, because I thought, oh my God, I didn't think anyone would really like it. And even my mother saw it and really liked it. And I think she was a bit sort of like, I haven't got one. So I painted some replicas. They're not the same. And from then on, the painting started selling. And then I thought, oh my God, this is the way forwards. It's my art that is going to bring in what I need, And I spent a lot of time down on the beach, and, and obviously, and it's transpired. As any of you, if you've been with me this whole journey, you will have seen how this art has changed. It's changed format, it's changed. It's always been sort of inspirational, and it's been part of myself. And I feel like I've had messages and signs for this. Like, for instance, the dragons that I did. I was really into dragons for ages. Everyone wanted dragons. Everywhere I looked, I saw dragons. I saw dragons in the clouds. People were talking about dragons. There was dragons on telly. It just went on. And then, then the next thing, I'd get something else in my head. So, maybe a a unicorn was everywhere, and then it was like, you know, and I just felt like I was being led all the time. It always came back to the art. So I did an art show, and I did this, and I sold quite a lot. Now, the difficulty or the challenge that came is that I was so focused on, got to raise money, got to do this, got to get the fundraising out. It got to the point where I was tipping the balance of my life. And this is where I am now. Okay. I had 3 or 4 things that I needed to focus on. One thing is, we want to eventually go to Spain. Okay. So that wasn't the main priority right then, because it wasn't going to happen. The next thing was we were actually going on holiday, which we paid for, and we still needed to have maybe a little bit of spending money just to actually pay the tax at the hotel would be good. That's €20 or something. So you can't, I think Sean said to me, when it's all inclusive, you don't need anything. Well, you do need something, because what if you need a cab or you need to get somewhere? So I was trying to save up for that, just so we had a little pot there. Then we had the pot going for the surrogacy. And, people say, oh, I was doing this and that and little jobs there. The thing is, everything that I did was what I do in my job. So when I was raising money, I wasn't earning money. So I was in this, if I was working to raise money, there wasn't any time in the day to earn anything either. So what happened through the summer is, because summer months are quite quiet, where work is concerned anyway, and any therapist or psychics probably tell you that, it does, because people are away and, clients just drift and things. And I have this need to be outside in the summer. And it was just, I got, I had the work, but the work, so for instance, I was doing a theatre, I did a theatre week, which some of you know, and I took part, I taught that, and that was like an in the bag summer school, which was great, but it took a lot of work, a lot of energy to organise, to put together. It turned out great, but in the time I was tearing my hair out, I actually thought, I don't know whether I can do this anymore. I actually had a fall, anything. It was almost like, what are you doing? At the same time as that, I was logging on, I was answering emails, doing readings in between. I was rushing about, just doing everything, and if you're any question about what I do private readings. I do therapy for people as well, so that covers lots and lots of things. It's quite deep past life stuff. It's quite a lot of energy work. I log on to a phone line as well when I can on the Circle, if you know of that. So I do that as well, and I need to keep my hand in there, because it's it's a job that's more it's there. It's something I can rely on, if you know what I mean. I was doing YouTube, so I was doing that every day. I was having to record monthly stuff and weekly stuff, and then I was doing daily stuff as well. That was happening. I was painting for people. So painting canvases just privately. I was painting a wall as well. I was I was teaching Aquafit on a Saturday. I was, to the start of the summer, I was doing dance classes as well, and that was supposedly to raise money, but that was causing a lot of stress. So I was running around left, right and centre. Then the other thing was trying to keep a home, look after my animals, walk the dog. Oh, keep going to the gym, because I'd paid for the membership. And, I was a bit peed off about that, because I'd paid for Sean to go, then he didn't want to go. So I was trying to go doubly just to sort of keep up with it, because I thought, well, I don't want to waste that money. And I couldn't cancel it, because to even save anything, because it was a 12-month contract and I still would have had to pay for it. So I'm trying to cut down here and there. I wasn't allowing myself to have a haircut. I wasn't going to have, my nails done. Not that I go and have my nails done that often, but, it's quite a nice treat. And I had got into a bit of that. I started trying to, give myself a little bit of a look. But then being summertime, I'm on the beach all the time. I'm in the water. So I thought, yeah, my hair's up. Who cares? I just want to be in the sea, just, muck about. I didn't allow myself to buy anything for myself, because I felt guilty. I felt guilty about planning anything. I didn't know, and I was in this position during the summer, just going, because there was also the strain of like, oh my God, the clients aren't coming in. Oh my God, what am I doing wrong? And I was questioning, am I doing too much of this? Am I doing too much of that? You know, and all the people that come to me going, oh my God, I'm in a mess. I don't know where I'm going. I was in that mess. And it just got to the point where I didn't know what to do because there wasn't enough to put in the pot. There wasn't enough going out. And then everything stopped. It was like every door slammed in my face, and there wasn't whatever I tried to put out there. So I'm trying to fundraise. So I decided to do a full moon feast. That didn't work. There was about 4 workshops I put out. One was for motivation. No one was motivated enough to do it. Now I know a lot of this was planetary, and being aware of obviously what was going on. I feel that everybody was in a sort of similar place. You know, all sort of like everyone was struggling. There was, you know, there was a lot of it going on. I had to, you know, my half sister came here to stay, and I had to sort of stop work then because I wanted to spend time with her and the kids, and I needed to talk to her. But it felt like whoever I talked to, I wasn't able to. It's like no one seemed to understand the sort of stress that was going on inside me. It was like this bubbling pot going, I don't know what to do. I really wanted someone to give me answers. And then every time I put out there, it was like, well, do I give this to the fund or do I give this to me? Because actually giving to the fund is not giving to me. And if I am unable to afford myself, how can I afford a child? And it just got to this point of like, oh my God, I'm running out of time. And that's my head. And that's what happened up until I went away. Now, in the middle of that time where I was just literally going, then a sign came in, and then we got this big donation. And from, again, almost like a complete stranger. And it was somebody that believed in what we were doing. And it sort of threw all that stuff out of the water about people judging me. Because really, at the end of the day, it made me realise that there's people that they can judge you if they want, but you know, as we talked, and Becky, you'll laugh at this if you're listening, because I'm sure you are, is that, you know, it's not our business, it's not my business what they think, you know, and that little quote has got me through the whole of this year, and it has helped me so much with my work because it's made so much sense. Such a small quote, so thank you to you and your grandmother. I think it was your grandmother's quote, wasn't it? Because, you know, it helps. And then, you know, you guys on here were just great. You know, you kept me going. But then it just got too much. And I felt like I was doing it all. Because, okay, so let's look at this little threesome. You've got me, the mother, who isn't legally the mother. You've got Sean, who is the sperm donor. You've got my sister, who's going to carry the child. So when we went to London to go and check this out, I was just the extra. I just sat there waiting. Everyone else had to do everything. We did have like a counselling sessions, obviously, together. But when all the checks were happening, I'm just sat there having my coffee. I can do whatever I want, you know. So in some ways, it's quite positive because for once, I don't have to do anything. But legally, what we found out is that once this child's born, I have absolutely no claim on it whatsoever. Nothing. And when we went to the counselling, there was a lot of questions about how she would, you know, how's she going to cope and how we're going to deal with her after, you know, if this child's born, and then, you know, do we just disappear? Do we, you know, will she feel like redundant? You know, we're sisters. How is our relationship going to be? Which is fair enough, you know, and to be fair, I've like looked at all these things because I'd already done that, because that's the way that I work. I felt like no one else really was, but, you know, I really was. Everyone seemed fine and cool, and they, you know, they agreed with it and everything. But not one person, not even the counsellor, actually said to me, how will you feel not actually having anything to do with this? Because it's not my egg. It's not my body. And legally, I've actually got to adopt this child, you know, or I've got to claim this child once. And so really, if I decided, so no one said, well, what if you decide you don't want it? I could actually just walk away and have nothing to do with it. And no one could do anything. So, like, Sean would be left holding the baby, or he could, like, freak out and go, oh, you can have it back. And so suddenly this child's, like, you know, not that would happen, but do you see what I mean? So, it was like no one was seeing it from this point of view. So, anyway, we spent an enormous amount of money for this. So, all the donations that were given to us, literally given, covered that really. I mean, we were looking over £1,000. I think we got over £1,000 of people just donated, and thank you again, thank you so much, because it got us to London, it got us to this clinic. You know, we had all the tests. There were so many tests, and they did it all like in one day, because so we didn't have to keep travelling. But they, you know, there was obviously costs getting up there, petrol, and all this. Anyway, you don't need to know the ins and outs. But that's me telling you where, if anybody was asking, that's where your funds have gone. So and everything else that has been built up, I've been putting in myself, because, you know, it's like my work. So I'm like, oh, okay, I'll do this for that, I'll do that, you know. But in the end, it's just money in it. Anyway, so all the way through this, from then on, so we went to have that, I think that must have been the beginning of the summer, and then we sort of knew then how long we had. We couldn't actually start anything for 6 months, because everything, Sean had his stuff, his sperm had to be in incubation. And they have to double check everything. You know, everyone has to be checked. You know, his stuff's going into her, and she's got to be checked, she can do it, and, you know, it just goes on really. The actual thing, you know, the actual way it works is actually quite quick. But it's all the pre stuff and the costs that go with that. And then you have like this great big amount, which was something like, oh God, I don't know. I think it was over £10,000 that we had to find then. But we needed it all together. And then 2 weeks before, or 6 weeks before we're going to do it, or within 6 weeks, we have to then choose an egg, and we have to rent it, right? Or you put it on side, but you can only have it for a certain amount of time, and then it goes back in the pot, or it's not viable anymore. So you have to sort of do everything in, you know, one thing after another. And there's this, you know, I was like, oh my God, you know, I suppose they get in touch with you. They say, right, this is the time we're going to go ahead. And, you know, are you ready? And so for us, it was like, right, by November or December, we'd like to get going with this. So initially, you know, everything's going ahead. I started, you know, I was going to do the can. That all went tits up. You know, I'd done leafleting, I'd done social media, I'd written pieces for the paper, I'd designed posters, leaflets. I mean, the amount of work that went in, and then it didn't happen. I got a lot of negative feedback with that as well. And then it turned out, actually, funnily enough, on the day that we were going to do it, it did rain. So I think we were saved there. But that could have been the thing for us, and we could have started. So then I believed, obviously, it was the art, and I thought, okay, just go with the flow. But then everything just, like I said, just got on top. And then I felt like I was doing this all on my own. And it got to the point where I'm carrying all this burden, and everyone else is going on willy-nilly. Now, I wouldn't expect Jenny to do anything, because at the end of the day, she's going to be doing all that later. So she doesn't have to go out and do it. You know, she's the body. So that's fine. All she needs to do is keep healthy, keep herself together, and prepare her body. On husband's part, he needs to eat well, look after himself, you know, he's the sperm. So it's like they've got to, you know, and so obviously with him, I'm like, come on, you know, we work with his diet, we're doing all this. But it was like, oh, it's me doing it all, you know, it's like me sort of going, come on, you know. And it's like, if you really want this, in my head, I'm thinking, don't you just go and do it? Because I'm going at it like a power engine. I'm rushing around here, doing that, feeling guilty for this. And then it occurred to me just before I went away that I was carrying so much guilt that I wasn't able to do this, which came from the lack of value in myself or self-esteem. Excuse me, I'm just having a little cry. From what has happened before, that I felt that I had to do my part. So my part was getting the money together. Well, actually, it occurred to me, this isn't my baby. This is our baby. And this is our thing together. And if other people aren't keeping their part and they're not doing it, then, you know, what am I doing? What's the point? I just didn't feel supported. I didn't feel like, I just felt like I was doing this all on my own. And I thought, why am I? And it was a little bit like going around and not focusing on my own problems and fixing everybody else's, because it was easier than dealing with my own pain. Because what I was doing was making it about something, so I had a focus, you know, but really what I needed to focus on was the here and now and what I needed. And actually, then it got to the point where my rent check bounced, and that was it. And it was actually just something really silly that made it bounce. It wasn't the money wasn't there, but it was a wake-up call, because actually it was just me, because I hadn't transferred some funds because I was too tired. And I just couldn't keep on top of it. So we went away. And all the way up to the holiday, I was stressing because, excuse me, because I was thinking, I need this holiday so much, and a week isn't enough. I need to get away, I need to restructure, I need to talk to, Sean, I need to know what's going on, I need to get some backup. And I mean, we've had arguments, I've had, just before we went away, I think it was about 3 weeks, I literally had a mini breakdown, and that's where I stopped. It's probably more before that, actually. That's when I stopped doing a lot of recordings, because I just couldn't cope anymore. And I just had no time in the day. I had to focus on what I could focus on. And it was a time where everybody's children were being born, and they were throwing it in my faces. And, and I'm not, I don't want anyone to feel guilty for that, because it's a wonderful thing and you want to share it with your friends. But I just couldn't deal with it. I've realised how difficult this was getting. And I was struggling so much with paying just a small bill. And I'm thinking, why has this got to be so difficult? I'm feeling like I've got to work hard for something that is supposed to be so natural. Why have I got to put my life on hold? Why have I got to work so hard all on my own to do something that's meant to be? Because at the beginning I thought this was a gift. This was something that was meant to be. This is fate. This is happening. And now it's all become a struggle again. What's going on? And I thought, well, okay, this is a typical pattern of me. I start trying to push things, and then I get blocked. And to be honest, I was getting blocked. I wanted to do live nights. I was prepared to do so much, and I just wasn't allowed, because I think I was just too tired. And I wasn't seeing the bigger picture, that actually I wasn't actually putting food on the table. And that I was going to get to the point of going on holiday and I couldn't even enjoy it. Because we couldn't even just relax and kick back and just, go out for dinner and everything, because we'd be struggling with money on holiday. And, that isn't the point. You take a little bit of spending money and it's your money to just throw around if you want. It doesn't have to be a lot, but it's just something so you can go and get a coffee, or you can, do what you do. Get your nails done. I mean, when I go away, we have like one holiday a year, if that anyway. And it's that 1 week that is the time that I relax. Sean takes hold of the wallet. Everything is like, and it's so important. So all this came away with this. And the day I was at the airport, oh my God, it was a new moon, and I'm going up in the plane and I'm asking for help, right? So I'm saying, putting all my prayers out there. I could see the sun coming up. I mean, it was the most amazing thing. So I'm putting all my intentions out there to the new moon, literally as it was happening. So you couldn't have got a better place, just going up in the sky, And then we got down and we're walking through customs, and I'm getting more and more wound up about everything, because it was like building a building. It was almost like now I can let go of it. And I was thinking, just let it go. But then everywhere I looked, there was kids, right? And I'm not joking. It was like every person had a child looking over their shoulder, a baby, and they were all crying, and they were, and I was like in the middle of it, and it was like one of those big nightmares where you're like, I can't get away, I can't get away. And I remember sort of channeling through all these crowds with my passport, thinking, just get me out of here, get me out of here. And I was sobbing. And I got to the end, and Sean couldn't even see this. He didn't know what was going on. We got to the end, got through, got to the hotel. I was still like not in a good place. I could feel it churning up, it was just something has got to be regurgitated. Now, I'm not somebody who doesn't confront things. I always confront it. This is why I'm doing this now. I mean, God, I've been doing this for 38 minutes. If you've turned off, I really apologise for just going blah. But, actually, I don't apologise. I need to get this off my chest. So we get to the hotel, and then I'm looking for something and I couldn't find this one thing that had been packed in. It was one thing I bought new, and I'd saved it for this holiday, and it wasn't there. And I was so upset. And then suddenly this argument erupted. And you didn't do this one thing right, and it was almost like everything that I've done, and this one thing could have been done. It was so simple. And poor Sean, he was like, ugh. So we ended up, the beginning of this holiday, walking down the street of Ibiza, down this little street. I'm going, blah, 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 and like screaming and shouting at him, and he's giving it back, and suddenly all these things, his thing was, you're never in, you're always out, you never, you know. And I said, I'm bored, I don't want to see you sitting here, look at me, what I'm doing, what are you doing, you're not on board, you're not behind me, I'm still struggling, you're still not showing me any passion, you know, I don't know what you want, you know. I mean, it just carried on. And anyway, suddenly we came to this bridge full of locks, and a dream came back to me, bush straight in my head, and I thought, oh my God, this was a dream I had. We were like putting two locks together, and it sort of stopped me. Stopped me, and I just thought, you know, I don't want to spoil this holiday. We need to resolve this. You know, this has got to be sorted. And you know, we're talking about the surrogacy, and I said, I just need to know if you want to go on with it. I cannot go on anymore. And I, on this bridge, you know, it was that point where I said, you need to understand, I am not going to do any more. I have done my bit. This is your turn. This is everyone else's turn. I cannot give any more. And he sort of agreed, you know, but then I thought, well, he's still not, I don't know if he's going to do anything. And then I thought, well, does he really want it? You know, you go always, but he's not that type of person. And he's like, well, I don't know how to do this. I don't know what to do, you know. And I am a go-getter. I am the leader, you know, off I go. I'm good at social media. I do all this, and he doesn't. But I just felt on my own, you know, and I just wanted some support. And I wanted us to talk about it. It was like we weren't talking about our feelings. I was offloading everything, and he was just like, no. And so you do start questioning, and then people are going, oh, how's it going? You're like, I don't know. I don't care anymore. Just get it off. Do you know what I mean? And then the other part of me, just give me the sign. Give me the child. Do whatever. If you want me to do this, you've got to show me. I cannot be the person to be constantly fight. So I just thought the answer was stop. So I just stopped. Simple as that. I thought, it only needs to be in one pot. All our dreams just need to be in one dream pot. So we made this decision that we would just do what we can in our own time because of our well-being, and that we will just build a pot, and the pot gets built, and then when the time comes that we have to stop this, if we have to stop it because we haven't got the funds, we then take the next route. It will still be in the pot. And if there's anything over that we haven't used that people have donated, we give it back, you know, and we donate it to another good cause. But anything that we've earned ourselves is ours. So it's as broad as it's long. It's extra. We had to look at that. It's a savings. If you're going to save, it has to be extra. But if you're going to fundraise, you have to be able to do it at times when you can still work. You know, it can't be like taking away from what you normally do. And I wasn't taking any expenses. I wasn't doing anything. I was just putting it all in the pot. Anyway, then I had people say, you know, are you going to carry on the dance class? I mean, the guilt around me just got, you know, I came back, it was like voices in my head. So I just stopped. And I came back, and I was much more laid back, as a lot of you know. I still didn't go back online so much. I just was really taking everything day by day. And it was like, for once, everything stopped. The fear went. Everything started flowing. And I felt that it was just do what you can each day and no more, because at the end of the day, you can't do any more. And I found a laid back part of myself that was so laid back that I was actually being late for things. I was still there in that zone. And then, you know, the abundant painting, the lady came about, and I feel that was a journey because I couldn't get her finished until I let go. And it was, I think I started her before I went away. So she got finished once I'd relaxed. And, you know, I felt like I was getting back to normal, but this little thing is still in the back of my mind, you know. And then things have come to light, and just over the last few days, things have started building again. And because I'm turning, you know, 47 on Sunday, and because this birthday to me is so important, because I feel with Jupiter coming in and the expansion that I've now got the luck on my side, that things could happen in so many areas of my life, I want to start that day feeling great. I want to just have that one chance that, you know, or some sign before then that to give me peace of mind. And I went and had my nails done yesterday. My friend, because she did it for my birthday. Thank you very much. Love you loads. And I chatted to her about all of this, and then we discussed that maybe, you know, we need to get us all together. And there was just so many questions with all this thing, because although we could just go with the flow, there's still this sense, well, are you doing anything? And I'd come up with a really good idea of this sponsored walk. I think I've talked about this online before, where we walk a certain amount of miles in a day, and then we stay in a haunted place, right? So I said about, you know, if anyone wanted to be sponsored me to stay on my own, you know, it would have to be a lot, but I would do it because that would be difficult. But, you know, when you find a sponsored thing, you want to do something which isn't that easy for yourself. So I came up with a combination of one is the walk. Sean was up for that because he doesn't, you know, he's actually got quite a lot of aches and pains, and he does walk every day, but this sort of walking wouldn't be that easy. And then what we do is stay at haunted places each night, because I'd probably be awake for so long during the night because I never sleep in those sort of places that the walk's going to be even harder. So we thought, well, let's do it, and also it would help us bond. And then we thought if anyone wanted to come on the walk with us, they could join us in the day, you know, not necessarily stay in a hotel. But so we found this route, and we decided we'll do it in January when he's off. Well, it all came to a head yesterday because he was then questioning this and that, you know, and I started thinking, I don't know, if, you know, does he want this anymore? Does he, you know, and it just seems to me, again, it still feels like it's on my back. And there's an incident that happened as well that's made me question things, you know, on both sides, my sister and my husband. And again, I still feel like it's almost like everyone's waiting for me to make the decision. And I know that if I have to turn back now, it's going to break my heart. But I've already been broken, and I've been breaking for the last 7 months, and I feel like everyone else is sailing along like this, you know, and I'm just like going, you know, this is where I didn't want to go. I begged, please don't put me through this. So, if the universe and everything's on my side, what was this all about? Was this a journey? Do I shut the door now? Because last night we discussed doing this walk earlier, so we were going to do it on a long weekend, which would be the beginning of December, because we thought if we leave it till January, we could be like, what else do we do in between again? You know, do we just keep going and then we do that as a thing, or do we take the time to build up the money? When do we do this thing? When is this thing going to happen? Because the cut-off time is the 20th of February. You know, that was our cut-off time. So one of the discussions that came up was to sit everybody down and, you know, and say, right, this is what I'm going to do, and at this point I'm going to cut off. So if no one's helping me, I'm just not going to do it. But it's like no one's hearing it. So I had a long chat with Sean yesterday, and actually it was quite a good chat, and because I can't leave things. I didn't want to leave it till after my birthday to have this conversation, because I know I'll be thinking about it for the next few days, and I'll just ruin the time that I've got out, and, you know, things that are happening, and, you know, I'm actually going out for dinner and doing some stuff, you know, and having some fun. So then we discussed like bringing this walk forwards, but then, and so I pre-booked these hotels because you have to pre-book them, and I thought if it doesn't happen because of the weather, we could just then do it in the January. So what you can do is cancel the day before if something happens or if it doesn't come off. But then I got this feeling of like, oh my God, I've got to put it all out there again. I've got to get sponsors. I've got to, which is doable, but I've still got to find £9,000. We still need £9,000. Can we do this? And so I woke up in the morning all churned up still, because although I was excited and he seemed excited about this because it'd be a fun thing to do, it was like, are we walking enough? You know, it'd be like 13 miles a day we'd have to walk and then stay in a scary haunted hotel, because these hotels are really renowned for being haunted. And one in particular, there's like lots of stories about, you know, people going off the road, and, you know, I mean, it is really, where we're going is pretty creepy, and I know myself I'm going to be absolutely shitting myself, but luckily Sean will be there. It still won't probably give me any more sleep, but I know it's weird, I'm a psychic, but I don't know, I've always had the EBGBs since I was a little girl. I used to sleep with a light on. But maybe it's my own fears that I'm afraid of, I don't know. So anyway, but this morning I've woken up feeling really despondent again because of the feeling of, oh my God, I've got to start all over again. And he said to me, yeah, well, we'll push it on social media. And I thought, but you won't be. I will be. I'll be doing it all, you know. And we talked about putting leaflets out. But then there's the other question. Do we stop? And then I've got to like do this all again, which I'm doing now. But actually that'll suffice, I think. You know, is say, this is why we're stopping. But I just don't know what to do. So this is where I've come to. 49 minutes of me going blur is, if anyone can give me a sign that I need to continue, because right now I'm at the point where I have nothing left. and I need help. Not, well, yeah, mostly probably I need a panic help, but I need help to make this happen. Any minute now, any day now, we could get a letter from the clinic to say we can go ahead, but we need £9,000 to do this. And I need your help. So there is a way, you know, I don't know, if anybody out there who's a psychic who's listening, or medium or anything, who can give me a message to say keep your faith, even if it's to just stop, to tell me to not do anything, or to get going again. Please give me something, because like I said, I am at a crossroads of despair, of like, I don't know what to do, because the thought of giving up kills me, because it's something I want so badly, but I don't know if I've got the strength. So I'm asking for something, an idea, someone to sponsor me for something. Ask me to paint your picture. Donate £1 to PayPal me. There's links below this. You can do that. There are funding accounts that I can send you links to, or anything, or if you've just got a message for me. When I started, some of the donations came from people who were mediums, who saw this. And there's something inside me that knows it will happen. Still so strong, you know, this feeling inside me feels so, it's a gut feeling, it's a soul calling of saying it's gonna happen. But you know, the only thing that I can get to is that either I had to do this today and become vulnerable again and come full circle, or I had to stop, I had to grow from this, and I had to grieve. Or is it me that has to make that decision? Was this only my journey? Whose journey was this? I know everything has to be in place. I know that, because I feel this is something that is more important, and I feel that in my gut. And so if there is anyone out there that can just give me some honest advice and say, yeah, just stop. It's not happening. Maybe I'm not meant to know that. I don't know. You know, I'm at this place and I'm doing my head in, and I don't want to have someday, well, feeling rubbish, you know, thinking, oh my God, what am I going to do? This is time for rebirth for me. You know, my birthday is rebirth time. And by then I want an answer. So I'm putting it out there to the universe. Anyone, please, you know, get anyone to listen to this who has an idea or has some sort of thought that is useful. You know, please keep your negative stuff away. I don't need anything like that. Please, not now. And if you, well, I suppose if people don't want to listen, they would have turned off by now anyway. So that's here's hoping. But if there is anything that you can give me so that I can just feel free, or something that somewhere I need to go or do. And I'm putting, I don't know, today I'm putting this in your hands, or anyone's hands. And maybe the universe is just hearing me do this, and it doesn't really matter whether anyone's listening anyway, you know, I don't know. Maybe I had to get to this point. But I woke up with this big ball of something, and it was like, something has got to give, something has got to go out there. So there you go. This is me. This is what's really going on. And I may regret this. I may lose millions of listeners from this. I may never have a channel again. But I don't know. I'm just going with the flow right now. Now, it's funny because this has just run up. I've just got a little message saying battery's running out. So I think it's time to stop. I could say, if you'd like a private reading with me, come to my website. But right now, I'm not sure anyone thinks I've got I do. I'm still there. This is something else. And I just I just thought, well, why not just whack it out there and see what happens. And because the faith that I do have that is still there is that if something is meant to be, somehow something will come through today. So my birthday present to myself is doing this, and if anybody wanted to know what the biggest thing that I'm asking for, the biggest wish I have, that would be it. That this does work, and that I find a way forwards that is just easier, or that something comes through to help the others take control. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know. So I'm going to sign off anyway, and have a great day. And hopefully speak to you tomorrow, and do check out the November forecasts, and I shall speak to you soon, guys. But anyway, thanks for listening. If you've been listening to this right till the end, and if you enjoy this vlog, then please subscribe. Well, in fact, do share, if necessary, and I'll take the flack, whatever. But take good care of yourselves, guys, and thank you again for all your support, and all of you who have supported so far and who are still there behind me. Take care for now. Bye.